Lunch table rules. Sharing food builds trust in the class. It was a sunny Monday morning when a new student named Layla joined Greenfield School. She had just moved from another city, and everything felt new and strange. She walked into the classroom slowly, holding her small lunchbox in her hands. The teacher, Mr. Brown, smiled and said, "Welcome, Layla. Everyone, this is your new classmate." The students smiled and said hello, but Layla was still shy. She sat at the back of the class and listened carefully. All morning, she watched how the other students worked together. They laughed, whispered, and shared pencils and erasers. Layla wanted to talk to them, but she was afraid her English was not good enough. When the lunch bell rang, everyone ran to the cafeteria. The smell of food filled the air: warm bread, rice, soup, and fruit. Layla sat alone at one end of a big table. She opened her lunchbox and took out her food, some rice, vegetables, and small cakes her mother made. She looked around and saw other students eating together and laughing. At the other side of the table, a girl named Emma noticed Layla sitting alone. She whispered to her friends, "That's the new girl. She looks nice. Maybe we should ask her to join us." Emma stood up and walked to Layla. "Hi, I'm Emma. Do you want to sit with us?" Layla smiled shyly and said, "Okay, thank you." Layla moved closer, and soon she was sitting with Emma, Tom, and Sarah. They all opened their lunchboxes, and the table became full of colors, sandwiches, apples, cookies, and juice boxes. Tom looked at Layla's lunch and said, "Well, what's that?" "It looks delicious." Layla laughed a little and said, "It's food from my country. It's called sabzi. Do you want to try?" Tom tasted it and smiled. "It's really good," he said. Then Emma offered her some chips, and Sarah gave her a cookie. They all began to share their food, laughing and talking about what they liked to eat. Layla felt warm inside. She was no longer shy. She said, "In my home, we always share food. My mother says sharing makes people close." From that day, the group made a small rule at their lunch table. Everyone would share something, even a small piece of food, with others. Sometimes it was fruit, sometimes a piece of bread, and sometimes just a story about their lunch. Every day, the lunch table became a place of fun and friendship. As the weeks went by, more students wanted to sit with them. The table got bigger and noisier. They learned about different kinds of food: tacos, noodles, pasta, and samosas. Mr. Brown saw this and smiled. He said, "When you share, you don't just share food, you share kindness." One day, a small problem happened. Tom forgot his lunch at home. When he opened his bag and saw it was empty, he looked sad. But before he could say anything, everyone began to give him a little of their own food. Layla gave him rice, Emma gave him half a sandwich, and Sarah gave him fruit. Tom's eyes shined. "Thank you, everyone. You are the best friends ever." That day, they all understood something important. Sharing food was not only about eating together, it was about caring for each other. It made them trust one another and feel like a family. By the end of the school year, lunch table rules became a famous saying in their class. New students learned it on their first day. Always share, always care, and never let anyone eat alone. On the last day of school, Layla looked around the lunchroom and smiled. She remembered her first day when she sat alone. Now she was surrounded by friends, laughter, and love. She said softly, "Sharing really builds trust." Everyone raised their juice boxes and shouted, "To friendship and food." And from that day on, lunch was never just lunch. It was a time to share, smile, and remember that kindness always begins with something small, like a bite of food.